Hello again, and it's time for another project. Just a little fun one today. I say little, it's actually 45 inches long, this one, by 6 inches where the spoon is. And it's literally a nice giant spoon with the words, "the world's biggest stair" on it. Don't ask who it's for, but it will be going on my shed. As always for me, we've printed it off, we've got everything taped where we want it. We've used our carbon paper, and we'll just slot that underneath there and draw around it all. That way we can use this template as many times as you like. There is other methods. You could put on laser printed paper, put it on that way, use a thinners on the end, on the back, rub it down. You could tape that straight to the wood if you wanted to and route over the lettering. I certainly won't be doing that one. Did it once, I won't do it again. Right, so there's our basic shape of the spoon, ready for our routing out. And the idea is we will route all the lettering out with our router, and then we get a scroll saw. You could use a jigsaw, bandsaw even, and we'll cut it all out to give us the shape of the spoon. And then we'll sand it round, curve the edges round, put our paint in there, give it all a good sanding over. We'll put a bit of a scoop in the spoon at the end. Obviously we haven't got a lot of thickness to play with, so it won't be too fantastic. Just to give it an idea that it is actually a spoon. And then we'll put it on the side of the shed with the others, and we'll finish this little project. Okay, as always for me, I like to use these CNC bits. They come in different degrees. These are 30s today. You get 20s, 15s and 10s, I believe. Now they do have a Dremel size shaft on, a 3.175. So if you're going to use a router, a 1/4 inch router, you need what they call a collet. And that's simply just a little tube like that, and you'll pop your CNC bit into it. That's now got a fatter shaft on it, as we say, and that will fit your router no problem. And I will use this one once we've set the depth I want to go around all the line work of the lettering. Not the spoon, remember, we're going to cut that out with the saw, scroll saw. And once I've gone around all the lines, I shall remove the CNC bit in, remove that from the collet and put in one of these end milling bits. These are ideal, and then we'll use that to clear out the inside of the lettering. This fencing wood comes off really easy, and a lot of the time I'm quite happy just to leave the CNC bit on and just use that to take it all the clear out with. Okay, let's set up the CNC bit in the router. We'll set it to our depth. I normally have a little depth gauge like this, basic piece of wood with so many different holes in. And we'll set it to one that we like, what we feel comfortable with. And that will be our depth that we'll use for the whole project. You can buy proper gauges and stuff if you want to. Right, let's pop the CNC bit into the router and we'll start routing this one out. Right, we've gone around all our letters with the CNC bit. This fencing wood, even though it's only cheap, it does cut really nice for me. So you can see from that, we've literally gone around all our letters. Now what we need to do is replace the CNC bit with one of our end milling bits. Pick one out that fits the lettering that you're doing, obviously. I'll go for this end one. That's just a simple case of removing the CNC bit. They fit the same collet, and we'll pop that in there And now we'll use that, we'll set it to the same depth. I always remove a bit of one of the letterings, like D there. So we'll set this to the same depth as that, and literally just go all around and remove all this inner bits of the lettering. We'll do that one next. Right, you can see from that we've gone and cleared out all the inside of our lettering with them end milling bits. They are really nice and they're really cheap. All my bits are from Amazon or eBay. So they've cleared out nicely. You've got a good depth to it. Okay, the next stage, just before I get the scroll saw and cut this one out. Like I said previously, you can use a bandsaw if you wanted to. I just prefer the scroll saw, or even a jigsaw, whichever you're happy with. I just want to route out the spoon here. Go around with our CNC bits, and then remove this inner section just slightly. It's only over 1/2 inch thick as this wood, or just slightly under 3/4 in between those two marks there. So we don't have a lot to play with, but just enough so we can see it is a spoon. And then once we've cut it out, we can round this round more and give it a bit more shaping. So I'll pop on the CNC bit again, literally just cut round this, and the mill end bits, bigger piece this time, we've got plenty of room, and just clear out this section of this spoon. Right, we've got the shape of our spoon going down nicely. We've not gone too deep for now. This is only a display piece, so just to give you a general idea. Once we've cut this out on the scroll saw, we will shape it off and give a bit more to it. Now, I've said twice already, I believe, you can use a jigsaw, and I have one here, but I can't use them to save my life. This spoon would end up like kindling by the time we're done. And I also do have a bandsaw over there. I'm not too comfortable with that either. So slowly, we're going to do it on this scroll saw. And for the size of this, which is 44 inches, remember, I'm going to use the good old spiral blades again. Good thing about these is there won't be any turning of this wood. I'll literally just feed the blade into that little pilot hole. And I've only done the pilot hole because I want to keep the frame on this for now. If I went in from the side, bits are going to start falling off all over. And I actually need this piece of wood for another project, so I'm going to try and salvage that. So the idea with the spiral blade is they cut from any direction, front, back, left or right, so there's no turning of the wood as if you're going to use a standard straight blade. So what I do is feed the blade through that hole, we'll set it up on the saw, and I can literally just go to the left, like so, cut it out this, we'll go round the edge, round that curve at the end, come down the other side, and because of the size of my little workshop, you can see by the size of the table, that's all I've got to work with. And then we'll turn it round. We'll have our blade in the same hole, and we'll literally cut that side out as well. And hopefully that should be done. Right, let's set this all up on the scroll saw, and we'll cut it out. Right, that's all cut out with those spiral blades. Pegas number 5 I use. Just a nice in-between blade. They do say you can't do the straight lines with those Pegas ones, but that's near enough for me. It got a little bit awkward round the spoon end. Round this end. That's literally because I had, what, 6 foot hanging over one side and half an inch hanging over the other side. So the balance was a bit dodgy. But there we've got it. So we've got a spoon. We'll put this to one side. I do need that for another project. And there we have him. One over large spoon. So now all we need now is to get me mouse sander. I'm literally going to sand it all down, round it off slightly, play about it with the Dremel, just general tidy it up, and then we'll start putting our paint in. Right, that's all nicely sanded down. We've done our little spoon on the end there. Just enough to say we gave it a go. So the next stage now is to paint this lettering. Just a black, standard black, nothing too fantastic. I'm literally going to paint it in. You can spray this, whichever way you guys prefer to do it. I've always painted, so we'll stick with it today. Normally I would put some kind of sealant on there. A spray or some description. I never use wood sealant. There is proper sealant you can purchase just to brush in there and then let it dry, and it just seals the side walls of your router area just to stop the paint from bleeding into the sides. Now I've got none of that now at the moment in time, so I'm literally just going to paint onto this bare wood. This has not been treated by any sanding seal of any description, so we'll take a chance and we'll see what we end up with. And for me it's just literally a case of getting your black on. And we're literally just going to brush it all the way around, like so. I probably want 2 coats on this one. And then once it's dry, we'll literally go over it with a sander. Hopefully just to sharpen it back up again. Right, I'll paint all this and then come back when we're ready to sand it down. Right, that's all our paint on. Couple of quick coats of that. All we need to do now is literally just a little sanding over. Just remove these little side bits and hopefully make it a little bit crispier. Okay, we've blown all the dust away. I actually have a mini compressor on my router which I use to blow the dust out. And I'm quite happy with that. There's no bleed on it at all, not that I can see. And we didn't use any sanding sealer and it came off really easy. I did struggle with my last couple of projects, actually getting it to sand off. Anyway, moving on. So Next stage for me is my boiled linseed oil. I put this on all my projects just to darken this wood back down again. We'll do all the sides and the top. Then once that's dry, we'll spray on a final varnish or a coat. You can see how that linseed oil just darkens that up nice like that. And it is literally just a case of brushing it on. Make sure you get the side bits. Put it on like so. And you can see how that wood's darkening down straight away. It doesn't matter if it goes inside the lettering. It'll all dry eventually. And then make sure you get down the side bits. Okay, I'll finish this off and then we'll come back when we're ready to spray on the finish. Okay then, that's it. This little project is over. We sprayed on some of our protection. I use this all the time. Just give it a little bit of a shine and just to help it out a little bit with it being outside. Those letters have come out really good. You can see that nice shine we've got going there. Just 3 or 4 sprays on of that stuff and it's happy enough with that. So there we have it, we're finished. One large spoon, the world's biggest stirrer, 6 inches at the widest point by 44 inches I believe, on fencing wood. Thank you very much for watching.